Okay, good evening. Welcome to the May 28th, 2024 meeting of the Hatfield Select Board. As usual, I'll call the meeting to order and I'll begin by reading our public participation policy. The Hatfield Select Board welcomes everyone to its meetings and all other public meetings of the town of Hatfield. All regular and special meetings of the boards and committees of the town of Hatfield shall be open to the public and shall conform to the open meeting law. Executive sessions are closed to the public and will be held only as prescribed by the statutes of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. It is important to recognize that the open meeting law affords the opportunity to listen to the proceedings, but not necessarily participate. During meetings of the Select Board, an attempt will be made to find a balance between hearing from members of the community and conducting the required business of the Hatfield Select Board. So, first for announcements, Ed, did you want to?
Yes, I would like to first thank everyone that attended Memorial Day activities to honor our fallen veterans who gave their lives yesterday so you could have a better life today. And I do want to make a special note of thank yous to an individual that at 11 o'clock in the morning, there was a problem with the PA system. And I gave John Novak a call and he rushed down and set up a PA system for us. So special thanks to John Novak for his help. And again, thank you to all the families that brought their children there to teach them about our veterans and our flag. That's all.
Yeah, it was a really nice, it was nice. And of course, thanks to the American Legion and thanks to you and everybody for.
I mean, it was nice to see the fire department participate, police department, the select board was there in numbers, so.
We were sitting in the shade of the new pavilion and it was very nice because I've spent many years baking in the sun. And so it was nice to be under that cover. So thank you for that. I actually have a bunch of stuff that's somewhat lengthy for announcements. First, though, I want to say that this is the last meeting we'll have before Smith Academy graduates, the class of 2024. So I just want to congratulate all of those graduates. And, you know, we wish you all the best in the future. We're proud of all of you. So just wanted to, did anybody want to add anything about that? So a couple of bigger things. First, the good news. You know, as everyone has heard who watches these meetings regularly, there were additional cost overruns out at the Route 5 and 10 water and sewer project, amounting to about $300,000, which would have been very difficult for the town of Hatfield to absorb. And I'm very happy to say that we received official notice from the Executive Office of Economic Development from the MassWorks infrastructure program that they have agreed to increase Hatfield's award by that $300,000 and cover those cost overruns. This is so big on top of the other overruns they've already covered. So again, I think we really have to give credit where credit is due, and that is Senator Comerford is really instrumental in helping us communicate with the folks at MassWorks and securing this extra funding.
Yes, because I mean, people were upset about the cost overruns, but we have not had to go into taxpayers' pockets for another penny. With Senator Joe, we've been able to get the funding, so I think that is great.
It's really important to thank her and to note that because these are really big dollar amounts for a small town like us. So it looks like they're moving along slowly, Phil. Moving along. So that's one thing we wanted to pass along. Another thing I wanted to pass along is Marlene and myself hopped on a Zoom call with folks from MassDOT and the city of Northampton about the bike path down on Elm Court. Did you say Open Space was going to be here tonight?
Mark Gillot had contacted me and was interested in being here, but I haven't heard back from him. So.
Okay. Well, we're just going to go ahead with this.
I was expecting that he was going to come.
Yeah. So, and Open Space, folks from Open Space are on this call too, and Northampton Planning. Basically, in a nutshell, MassDOT, after review of the proposed contract at the 10%
Design.
right about 10% design. Basically is letting us know that the project is just not viable. Their concerns, there was a number of concerns. First and foremost was the proximity to the railroad tracks. And that creates a problem for a number of reasons. The obvious, that you have a bike path close to the train tracks, which could be dangerous. It also creates problems around constructability and the ability to really get the equipment in there that would be needed to build the bike path. There was additional, they were just explaining sort of the difficulty in mobilizing that. One of the other concerns was the environmental constraints of the area, specifically the topography, the slopes. There was a lot of tree concerns out there. Tell me if I'm missing anything.
No,
These are
actually, there were 3 main points.
the
which
three
you
main
named
points.
them.
I actually had 4 main points.
Oh, 4, I had 3.
Proximity to rail corridor, environmental
until-
constraints, constructability, and then of course the cost estimate. They
Oh,
felt
right.
that it was just going to be exorbitant, and that it just really just wasn't viable at this time. They certainly, I don't think necessarily Mass DOT left a lot of doors open for this project, but I think Northampton is hoping to, be able to revisit it at some point, maybe if there's rail line improvements, or if they're going to be working in that area on the rail line or something. I mean, it wasn't exactly clear what they thought, but it's just not a viable project.
Yeah.
I think Mass DOT was very clear about that.
I have one more announcement.
Oh, sure.
I just want to remind the residents that on June 14th is Flag Day. You can actually, there's a box at Town Hall, you can retire your flags. There will be a ceremony at Pavilion and on the proper way to retire the American flag. So if you'd like to attend, come on down.
And you
That'll
can
be
bring flags to the town hall ahead of time.
To
Did you,
retire
did
them.
you just say that and I missed
Yes.
it? Okay, I'm sorry.
You can bring your
I was gonna say, I think
flags,
there's a box
and there's a
out there.
box.
Yeah, we put ours in there.
So you can retire the American flag the proper way.
That's really a nice service that they do, and thanks for bringing that up. So the last thing that I wanted to discuss was sort of to talk about the snow and ice budget. There was a lot of discussion around snow and ice at town meeting, and I thought this would be a really good time to sort of explain to people how it works and what some of the things that are considered snow and ice expenses. So first of all, and we talked about this at town meeting, but this line is the only line in the town budget that you're allowed to deficit spend. So the state allows you to actually budget for less than you're going to need, because it's almost impossible to predict, what you're actually going to need for money. One of the advantages to doing it that way is then if there are major snowstorms that kick in, what is it called, Phil? Disaster declarations. The town could actually not be liable for the expenses around those storms. So that's why it happens. Every town in the state does it this way. So this is not unique to Hatfield. This is how towns budget for their snow and ice. Of course, the alternative would be to try to guess and build all that money into the budget, which at this point would mean taking large chunks of money from somewhere else in the budget. There was also some question about why is it so expensive when we had such a light winter? So I just wanted to point out just a couple of things about the snow and ice total budget for the last handful of fiscal years. So just this last winter we had, it was about $158,000 for the snow and ice budget. The winter before it was, hello?
I'm
Oh. Sorry, the winter before our snow and ice budget was $210,000. The winter before that, it was $186,000. The winter before that there must have been no winter because it was $79,000. And then the winter of the FY20 fiscal year was $137,000. So actually last year's $158,000 is sort of on the low side compared to some of the other more recent years. I, for one, appreciate the job that's done. Someone got up at town meeting and made a comment about when you cross into Whately, the difference, and I've seen that difference many times. I rely on the roads to be in good shape. I leave for work really early in the morning. You know, we have our emergency vehicles that are needing to respond to things at any given moment. I think most people would agree that they do a good job on the roads, and maybe it's something we take advantage or, you know, take for granted a little bit. A couple of other things that I wanted to mention, and I do want to thank Phil for helping me prepare this. The town has 56 road miles. So there's 56 miles of road that the DPW is taking care of. There's 5 miles of sidewalks, as well as parking lots here at Town Hall, Smith Academy, and the Hatfield Elementary School. Of course, this parking lot is also the parking lot for the fire department and the police department and the ambulance. When we have a plowable snow event, there are 11 employees that are out taking care of the roads. I know it's broken down by routes, and different trucks have different routes. There's 9 plow drivers and 2 laborers. The laborers are taking care of things like the town hall, the library walks, and the steps. And I think it's important to note that there will also be snow removal labor at the school. Does that go through your budget, or does that go through there? That goes through the school budget. So when these snow events happen after hours, it's calculated, it costs the town about $449 per hour that they're out working, removing snow. And, you know, as you know, most storms happen overnight or on the weekends, right? That's how it seems anyway. So with the current budget of $12,911 budgeted for labor, that would only be 28.75 hours at that rate. So one storm would easily exhaust that number. So some of the other things that are included in the snow and ice budget, I know there was, people sort of alluded to things that were part of this, and I wanted to clear that up. So obviously salt is part of it. Right now, so 5 years ago, salt was $49 a ton. And right now we're paying $75 a ton. So a significant cost increase for what we're paying for that. The gravel price, that's what do you put that down on dirt roads to prepare it? That's $21 a ton roughly. And then there's a liquid that they use that's $1.89 a gallon. You go through about 2,500 gallons. Is that a pre-treat or is that yeah. It's called Magic Minus Zero. Right? Is that the brewery sludge? Yeah. So those are the really obvious, the salt. And what about sand? Are you just salting? You use gravel. Okay. So snow and ice funds are also used for labor and materials, things like plow blades, repairs on certain vehicles can be put into the snow and ice, into that snow and ice operations fund. And remember that they prepare for the winter season far before the first event happens. You know, we see them, they put the snow sticks out, they're getting all the vehicles ready, all of that. So there's the vehicle maintenance employees, some of the hours are put into snow and ice. So, I mean, I guess I just wanted to clear some of that up. You know, sir, do you have anything you want to add, or does anybody have any questions about that? Anything I missed?
No, I think they do a great job, and like you said, you have to remember that people, you need the fire department to be able to go out there, which is people, volunteers coming from their houses. They got to have good roads to come down here and grab the fire trucks. It's way more than just, you know, wait till it's done snowing and clean it up.
Right. And actually, we're lucky that one of our main roads in town is done by the state, right? So out on 5 and 10, obviously 91 is done by the state, but even 5 and 10 is completely done. So we don't have expenses where 5 and 10 is concerned. Our expenses would actually be far greater if we did. So I think, I guess I thought it was important to let people know that, because obviously there was discussion, there was a lot of questions about it. I sort of understand it all because my husband works in that world. So I just sort of assume people know, but maybe people don't. And I do think it's important to know that, you know, it is all hours of the night. And you're also going by what weather predictions are. So you're preparing for what the predictions are. And we know that they're not always right, but we can't I don't think any of us would be happy if they sat back and waited until things got bad to really get out there and
I
try
know,
to take care of it.
I've got called in many a times in the winter time, 1, 2 in the morning or whatever, and the roads were always passable. I always appreciated the fact that I wasn't skidding all over the road. I was
Mhm.
able to get out. So, I
Mhm.
mean, I've always felt the roads have been taken care of very well in the winter.
So anyway, I just thought this was just a good opportunity to let folks know. So again, I did ask for some of those numbers. I did not just know all those things off the top of my head. So Phil, I appreciate that. Everybody good? Nobody has anything? Great. And certainly if anyone has any further questions about it, I'd be happy to answer them. Okay, so anybody here for public forum? No. So let's go right on to our consent agenda, which would be the minutes of the May 7th and the May 14th meeting.
I make a motion that we approve the May 7th meeting minutes.
Second,
A motion made and second. Any further discussion?
No.
I'm going to abstain because I was not here. So all those in favor?
Aye.
aye.
Minutes of the May 14th, 2024 meeting.
I make a motion that
to
we
accept.
approve.
All right, that's fine. Go ahead.
We approve the May 14th meeting minutes.
Second,
Motion made and second. Any further discussion?
No.
All those in favor?
aye.
Aye. Oh, we didn't congratulate Ed on his reelection.
Oh, that's okay.
Well, still, congratulations. Ed.
Congratulations, Ed. I, for one, am delighted to have the opportunity to continue to work with you. Okay, so topic 1 is Select Board reorganization. So this would be designating a chair as well as our department liaisons.
Personally, I think you've always done a good job as chair, Diane. I mean, I think we have to I know my strengths and weaknesses, and I think you're a far better chair than myself. But if Greg wants to take over, then, I mean, he has this opportunity too.
Oh, no, I like the way Diane keeps moving things along. I do. I just, if it's okay with you.
It's okay with me. It's okay with me. Yes, I would be happy to do that.
Thank you.
So you have to actually vote that, right?
Have to nominate.
So I'll make a motion to nominate Diana as our chair.
I'll second that.
Motion made and second. Any further discussion?
No.
All those in favor?
Aye.
I do like the middle chair, so thank you for that very much. And then our department liaisons. So Marlene, do you have who is what this year?
So currently you have the schools
Right.
and Council on Aging and yeah, and
I
then,
thought I had police. Police
okay, yeah,
isn't
the
listed
police
on
too. I
here.
see, it looked like it was grouped together, so I know
Oh, yeah,
that
okay.
you had police,
Right.
Ed had the fire ambulance department, right?
Right.
Okay, but we're not grouping them together? I don't,
They were separate.
they were separate,
They've
okay.
always been
That's what I
separate.
Fire
thought.
and ambulance is separate? Or do you mean
Fire
and police?
ambulances.
I think there just
one.
isn't a space there because I've
Right.
had the police
Okay.
department. Yeah.
Okay. And then Ed had the Department of Public Works and the Fire Ambulance Department.
Okay.
And Greg, did you have the building
Yes,
inspector?
building inspector, yep.
And then what about administrator and collector? Administrator and then
I
treasurer
think that, I
collector.
believe that was you too.
I thought so too. So, I mean, I'm fine with just keeping the way we have unless somebody is really feeling the need to switch something around. Greg, you only have one department. I think we need to load them up.
I think I had more than that.
Then maybe you had, administrator and treasurer collector.
That could very well be.
You want to take those?
Sure.
Is that okay with you, Marlene?
Oh, yeah, that's fine.
And I've got FRTA.
Yeah, I would like to stay on capital planning just because I just think it's good. Don't you think, Dave, for continuity? Yeah,
I've been attending the PVPC meetings, and
yeah, that's great.
so
So we're
Unless-
good keeping it that way?
if that's okay with Greg.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, okay.
Okay.
Those don't have to be voted, right?
No.
Okay. Nope. Easy, easy. It's a pleasure working with both of you, so. And you, Marlene.
Thank you.
And you, Karen. We'll throw John in there, too. It's a good team. All right, so topic 2 is a one-day liquor license request, Leadfoot Brewing, LLC, for a private function on June 15th. This is at the Pavilion. Is anybody here from Leadfoot? You're here from Leadfoot. If you want to come up, I don't know if we'll. So it looks like the paperwork is in order, Karen. I see a certificate of insurance. The town's been paid.
Everything is in
The
place.
application looks in order.
This is for a wine and malt license only.
Wine and malt, private party, 1 to 5 p.m., so decent hours. Okay. I don't have any further questions. Do either of you have any questions?
I don't have any questions. Do you want to say anything, or?
I don't have any
Okay.
I know your brewery, I like it.
You know, I was just going to say, I haven't been there. I've heard good things. I've heard good things, but I haven't been there.
I'm a monkey juice fan.
All right. Okay, so we just need a vote on that?
Yeah, I'll make a motion that we approve the one-day liquor license to Leadfoot Brewing LLC for private function on June 15th, 2024 at the Hatfield Lions Club Pavilion
From 1 to 5 p.m.
Yeah, state the hours.
from 1 to 5 p.m.
I'll second that.
Motion made and second. Any further discussion?
No.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Awesome. Thank you, guys.
Enjoy.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Okay, next, topic 3 is the Veteran Services Officer position. As people know, we've had transition there. You know, Jerry Clark, who did it for a long time, sadly passed away. We had Mr. Letourneau came on temporarily, and then it's been taken over by Northampton while we sort of figured out what we wanted to do long-term. And now Barry Labbè, one of our residents from School Street, has reached out expressing interest in the position. So very glad to see this. Barry, did you want to come up to the mic? Yeah. And so you are a veteran of the Army?
6 years.
6 years, okay. So as I said, you live here in town. You did have, you have military service. We have your DD 214 here. And so, I mean, I guess I'm curious, Marlene, have you had a chance to talk about the position?
We did. We talked briefly on the phone. He's had a chance to look at the posting
Right.
and the description. So I will be in touch with the City of Northampton's Veterans Office because I've had conversations with them in the past when we were, looking to fill the position, that they'd be willing to work with the individual.
Right, to do, I assume you'd need some training.
The past veterans officer,
quite a bit.
yeah.
Yeah, it
I've
does.
been doing a lot of research on it.
Yeah, the
Um,
reporting. And the Department of Massachusetts Veterans Office is also available to assist.
Great.
Great, because I think we made sure that we gave the training so that you won't have any problem. And Northampton, I think it was like 2 or 3 months. They helped.
Right, because they helped Mr.
Yeah.
Letourneau, right?
did,
The same thing,
yeah.
yeah. And so they're just a great office, and I'm sure that they'll be,
Mhm.
helpful in bringing you up to speed. But I think this is great.
Mhm.
You know, how many hours do you think it is about a week? Does it fluctuate?
It does.
And you have you have the ability to put those hours in?
Sure.
Yeah.
As you know, I'm also I'm board of registrar, but that's, once a month.
Right.
It fluctuates too, depending on the time of the year it is,
Right. Right.
I mean, I worked there today, but it's 4 hours, and like I said, it's once a month, but I'm just glad that I saw the posting. It was,
Mm.
I've been looking for something like that. To
Well,
give
we've been
back.
looking for someone like you,
What do
so
you
this is
call-
perfect.
What do you call this? Where have you been?
It's words out of her mouth, actually.
No, when she mentioned your name, of course, I've known Barry for many years. And, when she mentioned your name, I went, perfect. Yeah, that's great.
No, I'm
So-
glad I saw it.
I appreciate you, wanting to step up, and, we'll certainly support in any way we can as you work through the training and get used to everything.
Mhm.
So,
I think you'll be,
Downstairs where the office was, and I got the name and number of the Northampton individual.
Okay,
So I'll be contacting.
Rebecca,
Right,
yeah.
right, I'll be.
Rebecca's wonderful.
Yes,
Yeah.
she is.
Rebecca's wonderful.
Northampton's lucky to have her.
Yeah, for
I
sure.
think
She's
you'll
been
make
there
a
a long
great
time.
veteran service officer with town of Hatfield. It's nice that we have somebody from town that's
It is.
willing to step up for
I'm
that.
glad as well, or there should be.
Right.
Somebody here. I'm sure we have plenty of veterans in town.
Right.
And there's a lot going on. I mean, I just read something today. I subscribe to Army Magazine in Stars and Stripes, what I used to read in Germany. So I have it now. We have the burn pit issues. There's so many things going on now that the veterans need.
Right.
And the paperwork is hard to
Right.
navigate sometimes. So
But I know with your professional background, I think I have no doubt that you'll be able to come up to speed pretty quickly. So, well, great. So do we need to vote this tonight?
Yes.
Okay.
You'd like to vote the appointment?
Well, I'd like to make a motion to appoint Barry Labbè as our veteran service officer.
I'll second that.
Motion made and second. Any further discussion?
No.
All those in favor? Aye.
Welcome aboard.
Yeah, Barry, thank you. Thank you. Let us know how we can help or be supportive, and, thank you very much. We appreciate it on behalf of
We'll
the
get you your
veterans in town.
appointment, and then you'll have to be sworn in. Okay? I'll be in touch with you. Thank you.
Excellent. Barry, thank you so much.
I just wanted to say that it's nice, I've been to select meetings in the past, and there just seems like it's a very nice atmosphere here.
Mm.
So I appreciate that. I
Yeah.
really do. So
We agree. We like,
civil, if I might say.
We agree to disagree.
So,
actually, that doesn't, I consider myself very lucky to work with both of these colleagues. It's good.
all right, thank you.
Thank you. That's very kind of you to say, Barry.
Yes.
Okay, so topic 4, departmental report from the building inspector, just on time.
I arrived just.
I know.
Oh,
Look at you. Come on up, Kyle.
Do you have any particular questions you'd like to ask me before I get started, or?
No, I think you should just go for it, and if we have questions,
So,
we'll,
we've got a lot of good sized permits that have come in, different projects going around the town. Benson self-storage, as you know, they got approved from the planning board and they built out additional units over there. That's almost a total of $1 million in value. Omasta Landscaping has made it through the planning board, thank God, after all this time, that's gonna be built out.
that's on North Hatfield, right on that
That's on
parcel
North
next to,
Hatfield.
next to their house.
Right,
Yeah.
right down that way. Yankee Candle has been slowly entering into town on Elm Street, the Elm Street side of CNS. Their initial building permit was for 302,000. Subsequently, they pulled permits for $1,750,000 and $1,519,000. So that's some separate ones. So that's some sizable investment in the town as well, good amount. And that's all built out. I talked to their engineer a couple days ago. So that's completely built out what they're doing now, finishing up a few small things. So I think for now, that'll be about it from them as far as moving anything else here. They're doing primarily shipping, but one of those permits was for a scent room also.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, I thought so too.
So they have, okay, because they have the research and development place up in Deerfield. I wonder if they're
Yeah.
moving it down here.
Perhaps.
So I've toured that. It's really cool.
I think it would be nice if we got it all eventually. So I have no
Yeah.
problem. I have no problem borrowing from another town. Scapes Builders is going to be building out the upper end of West Street where the sewer extension is. They've started some of their initial work. That's where Stiebel Eltron was also set to build out their newer factory warehouse. And as you might know, Frank Stiebel had passed away, I think probably about 2 weeks ago now.
Are you serious?
Yes, yeah. Sad pancreatic cancer. But I've been in touch with some of his people and Erica Gies.
I was going to ask if
you have
Erica's still
And
there.
she promised that, or she feels strongly that all of his plans are moving forward for building. And even the new place, so up by towards the Chestnut Street end of West.
Right.
The facility on West Street, 17 West, where they had just built a new warehouse out in the back side of that facility, that's almost finished. Probably another few months and that would be operational. They're just doing the fire panel and some of the touches on that. So that was a very large investment on their part. So it's kind of sad Frank didn't live to see it be occupied.
I'm shocked to hear that. I had no idea.
Very nice man.
I'm sorry, I thought I had told you that.
No.
I
They
didn't.
just had
You know what?
his,
That would have been when I was gone, probably.
They just had his celebration of life last week. I believe it was
Wow.
Friday.
Wow.
So- Then online permitting is doing well. No issues with that. It actually works quite well. I still do get the stragglers that want to do paper permits, but it operates great. So no issues there. And we have a new clerk, Lori, who took Ashton's place, Ashton Weegels, and she's doing an excellent job. She did online classes with the permitting service vendor, Permit Eyes, and she got brought up to speed how to manually enter the paper ones that come in. So now, even if it comes in paper, you'll be able to see it online.
That's great.
So any of you that want access to it or something, you can also get access through, I can get you passwords and so forth, but works very, very well.
Wow. Well,
And-
that's really good news on the sort of commercial development front. Is there much going on the residential
The
side?
hotel is also in the works too.
Right, I was gonna
Just,
yeah.
To bring you up to speed on that one. Residential side, one new permit's supposed to be coming in for Prospect Street. There's four scattered around, 4 new builds, new houses. I've been talking to some people about 2 families, doing a couple 2 families around town. Linseed Road, Prospect Street, Straits Road. Those are all sites with new houses coming along. Bridge Street, Bill Lacey has been in with plans. He went to conservation. So he's going to have a Cape-style house with an apartment above a garage. I did talk to somebody about using the new bylaw about the detached accessory, and I've gotten some interest in that since town meeting. So I think that will be something that you'll see around town a little bit happening. But basically, commercial development is very strong compared to some other towns where they really have nothing happening.
What's the status of the pickleball?
Oh, the pickleball also, 60,000 square foot facility. That is.
This
in
is the one
planning-
just north of what used to be the highway garage, that one.
That's in the planning board stages.
Okay.
And Berkshire Design is working on that, and they'll be coming to see Stephanie and the planning board some more to get that done. They had a little bit of opposition from a couple of the farms close by, but in the end, it's a pretty quiet, safe project, I would say.
And then the bathroom upstairs, the work is underway there,
The
right?
bathroom, the
The bathroom
bathroom
is
is
complete.
complete.
Oh, it's
The
complete.
bathroom was complete last.
Oh, that's
The-
right,
yeah,
the
yeah.
bathroom, but I mean,
balcony.
so the balcony,
The
that was what I
balcony
meant.
floor is being worked on, and then we'll be tackling the break room up there.
The studio.
Studio,
Yeah.
studio and break, studio and the Marlene
Break room.
Wachonsky dedicated.
No, I don't think so.
After
so.
her retirement, we're gonna put a
Well, when she can finally get a break, because she
Yeah.
really hasn't had one in a while, so.
Everything's going well, so I don't see any big obstacles on any of those. Do you have any questions, or?
No, I think that, I
Actually, a
love,
lot going on.
there is
for-
a lot, you know what, I really like this, and I would love, you know, an update like this,
I'll do
maybe
this
quarterly.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I think quarterly
Oh,
is
yeah.
probably enough.
Yeah.
You know, but because sometimes projects are going on around town and people ask me about it, I don't know.
but
How-
Diane,
you
I
know.
compare myself to other towns, or I know myself, our town to other towns. We got a lot going on compared to some of them. Some of them have actually no commercial, no industrial.
Yeah, the commercial's going to
Nothing.
be helpful.
Nothing. So Route 5, while being costly, the West Street sewer extension, it did draw a lot of attention.
Mhm.
That's starting to pop.
It is starting to pop, right?
Right, right.
Which is also, I think that, you know, that project, you know, hopefully wrapping up soon. You know, Frank Steibel was really
Oh, he
instrumental.
was.
And
And he was really the
one.
catalyst for getting
MassWorks
that
for-
whole project going.
For the
Yeah.
first grant, yeah.
I mean, I started talking to Frank about this when I worked for Peter Kokot.
Mhm.
That was a long
Right.
time ago.
We had a meeting with
we had-
Mr. Kokot.
And
remember?
Secretary Ash came out and,
Yeah.
you know,
Yes.
but Frank was really, so I'm glad Erica is still there because Erica was.
And the way she did her paperwork, I can't help but think between her and Frank, that's what got that grant, a lot of it.
That's
Well,
Well,
what
because
she-
that
Bill
grant
and
was
everybody
contingent,
else,
people don't realize the MassWorks grant is contingent upon being able to create jobs.
Mhm.
Right.
And so what they were going to be doing there and the expansions there put a big, you know, gave us
And
an
then the future
advantage.
development
And
of
then
that new
Scapes.
parcel.
And then the
Yeah.
new parcel
Yeah.
were
Just a
really what
lot of
factored
general
into
good
those.
interest in it.
Right.
And then, of course, you know that the old Scottish Inn was purchased by Kenny Patel, who's the
Right.
one that's doing the new hotel.
Right.
So there are plans for that as well.
Right. And I can only imagine that
It's going to be
the
very
access
nice over there.
to sewer and everything made that a lot more attractive.
And hopefully in the
viable of a
future, we
project.
can keep that sewer line moving towards
Keep it moving.
Whately.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh,
that would be a nice development.
I think we need to finish this one before. I think we're all a little
But I'd be
weary.
happy to come in anytime you need me to.
I appreciate that. I would say
Encapsulate
quarterly,
it.
like maybe,
Yeah.
you know,
That's why I said I've reached out to
Maybe in the fall,
departments to
you know,
start
maybe
doing that
October,
again.
November, something
Yeah,
like
and then I
that.
can
Come
give you a
back.
status where some of these things are at.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
Very good idea.
No, I think it's great. I would like to see, you know, I mean, some departments come in frequently,
Mhm.
but I like these updates, not just for us, but for the people at home who
Yeah.
can hear what's, you know.
We should
what's
have more
going on.
to add on the pickleball shortly, I would think, for
Yeah.
one. And
Yeah.
it would be nice if we could get some more residential development by way of the apartments, like Mr. Patel or Frank Stiebel were talking about doing. Frank was talking about doing some really interesting
Like a solar village, right?
energy
Up in,
efficient net zero type of housing that Erica wanted to work on.
Yeah.
So that'd
Yeah,
be a nice,
I
nice
remember them-
legacy for him if
it would
this,
be, yeah. That would be way up behind,
yes.
she said it was a long-term
There's
goal.
some, well, because there, you got to talk about rerouting farmers' ditches and.
Yeah.
Yeah, Chuggy Eberlein's work from decades ago, I'm sure.
I'm sure it's still working.
It still works.
Of course it does.
Back of my house.
I'm sure it does still
Leave
work.
My backyard drive.
Yeah.
So anything
All right.
you need, let me know.
All right. I appreciate it,
Thank you.
Kyle.
Thank
Great.
you.
Thank you
Thanks,
very
Kyle.
much. Topic 5 is to do with a recent violation at the Hatfield Market, which is actually Naxog Inc. Am I saying that right? Naxog. So we received notice from the police department that they conducted an alcohol compliance check at the Hatfield Market on May 1st. At that time, the clerk sold a beer to a person under 21 without asking for identification, which is a clear violation, and it is the second violation, the first occurring on May 30th of 2019. So that would be 5 years ago. So we asked you to come to a meeting to discuss this violation. So could you maybe come up to the microphone?
Yeah, so.
Could you introduce yourself? Sorry.
My name is Shahid Habib. I'm the owner at Hatfield Market. So the clerk called me the same day. The police inspector is here, and he's saying that I sold it to some minor. And I asked him to ask the police officer whether, what time it happened, so I could see in the video and see if that really happened. And he told me that officer doesn't have a time or date when that happened. So 2 things here. I'm not sure whether, because the clerk was new, and whether who's right, who's not, because he told me that it did not happen in my while he was working over there. And I do clearly have a POS system which pops up a window that check ID whenever you scan some alcohol or cigarette items. So I did whatever I could to prevent that from happening. But it's a new clerk, so I cannot say whether he's telling the correct or not. But I wasn't able to verify it anyway. And since I asked him to ask a receipt if they have, maybe we can, and they didn't have a receipt either. So at this point, I'm unaware of what actually happened. But I just wanted to let you guys know that I have a POS system out there, which whenever you scan some item which is for adult use only, it do pop up message that check the ID, and you have to press OK to continue the sale. I am actually. I even didn't know that something happened in 2019 either. I just found out from that letter that something happened at that time. Usually there's a criminal offense on a clerk's part, that if he does something like that, sell it to minor, it's a criminal offense. I don't know what is the status of that either, because my employees know that they cannot sell it to minor. They'll be in trouble, which I think it's a good thing, because that way they are scared. If they wanted to sell it to their friends, they can. But I did whatever I could to prevent this from happening throughout my time at Hatfield Market for last few years.
Yeah, so thank you for coming in. I guess the violations or the alleged violations are 5 years apart. Do you know how often they do these
I don't.
compliance checks? I mean, it seems like we have very incomplete information. So we don't, I would like to know, how often are compliance checks done? In other words, in the meantime, did you pass all the compliance checks? And we don't even have any kind of police report. Or any kind of
We
compliance
did receive it.
paperwork.
I thought it was in the packet, but I don't see it
I don't,
here.
no, I don't have it. Was it in your packet?
No. Maybe not.
I mean, I guess I feel like without seeing, the actual report from the police department and sort of any corresponding, I'm not prepared to take any kind of action
Right.
tonight. I mean, obviously, we take this very seriously.
Right.
Yeah.
And we would want to make sure that all of our, everyone who has a liquor license through the town is in complete compliance.
Sure.
But I just don't feel like this is
So maybe
complete.
we should continue this
Yeah,
discussion.
I think we'll,
Yeah,
I would
because you
like
should
to-
have a copy
I would like
of the
to see
report.
what, if you're saying you don't have that and you
Yeah.
didn't, I mean, I don't remember dealing with this in 2019.
I don't have any record of it. I searched my records and I had spoke with the police chief
You re-
and
I don't recall, but
yeah,
I
I
do
didn't
have
either.
one question, whether it's a new employee or no, what type of training is provided to your employees to prevent this from happening?
So as part of their training, when they go through whole a POS system, that how to scan and how to check ID, they go through few days, I would say 3 or 4 days, go through the training with existing employee. And we go through everything, and we, usually in POS systems, there's no such thing as check ID. But I did that because I wanted to make sure that we don't do this violation. And they are told clearly that if they cannot continue selling, they cannot continue scanning until they hit OK, I check the ID. But beyond that, I mean, we tell them everything. They go through 3-4 days training before they start their own shift. So that's what we do with every new clerk. And this clerk wasn't a new. He used to work in the store, and then he started working somewhere else. Then he came back after a long time. And after like 2 or 3 days, he's starting. This call I received from him.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, we take this seriously, but I don't think we have complete information. I don't know how you feel.
And we'll continue it.
We'll take this up at maybe our next meeting and see if we can get
Sure.
other information from,
You also find out, I can call them as well. Is there any criminal offense against my clerk? Because that one thing that made sure those clerk they didn't do it, because it's personal criminal offense other than the store owner. So that is, I believe it's a good thing for, at least for us store owner, because otherwise it's a basic job, basic pay. So they don't pay attention or don't care. But if it's something they will be held account for, that's a good thing, I believe.
gotcha. Yeah, I don't know the answer to that question. I think what we'll do is we'll either get more information or ideally have the chief here to talk about it at the next meeting. But certainly Marlene will let you know the date that we'll take it up again.
Okay.
So I think that's the only fair thing to do.
I think that's a good idea.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
I appreciate you being here and
No
and
problem.
everything. Yeah, thank you very much. Okay, moving right along. Topic 6 is appointments, resignations. The first order of business is to accept the resignation of Anna Holhut from the Celebration Committee, which is really too bad because Anna's been really great on there. It was sort of an offshoot of the 350th. Marlene, we just said that we would have him back at him. Okay. And I mean, as much documentation as possible, and ideally the chief here, I mean, if we're talking about all of this. So we do have this,
I'll make a motion to accept the resignation of Anna Holhut from the Celebration Committee with regret, because Anna's done a fantastic job.
Anna's wonderful, yeah.
I'll second that.
Motion made and second. Any further discussion?
Just, we make sure we send her a letter of thank you for her time.
Yeah, she was great, really great at getting the whole summer concert, series off the ground. So we really appreciate the work Anna has done. So all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We also have a resignation of Casco Crane from the local cultural council that we need to accept.
I'll make a motion to accept the resignation of Casco Crane from the cultural, it's the Local Cultural Council, okay.
Which is really, it's a term limit issue, if I'm reading her letter
Yes.
correctly.
Mhm.
Um,
They can only serve
Okay.
minimum.
Well, we thank her for her service as well. Did somebody make a motion?
Ed did.
I made the
Second.
motion.
Okay, motion made and second. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Those positions would be posted on the website, right? As
Yes.
available if anyone has interest in either being on the celebration committee or the local cultural council. Okay. Topic 7, the DPW report. Phil, come on down. How's it going?
So,
Thanks for getting that information together.
Very
Appreciate it.
thank you for presenting.
Okay, so the authorization of the Route 5 water and sewer infrastructure improvements, the supplemental MassWorks grant. So we just need to, that's in here, I think, right?
The contract, yes.
Yeah. So do we need to vote that?
Yes, you do. You to vote to approve the contract amendment with MassWorks for the supplemental amount of $300,000.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Motion made and second. Any further discussion?
No.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. This requires only my signature.
That's correct.
Thank God, huh?
So I would just like to thank Senator Comerford, and I would like to thank Juan Vega from the MassWorks program, because he's been very instrumental in the town of Hatfield. As you mentioned, you know, this started with Peter Colcott, so it's been a long time going, but to get the initial grant of $2 million with help from those people, as well as the senator that was in place at the time, and from my good friend, you know, Rick Sullivan was very instrumental as he was part of that whole administration back then. So you got, you know, you received the $2 million initial grant, you received the $1.5 million supplement grant, and now you received the $300,000 grant. So, you know, you're talking, you know, $3-4 million. So you couldn't do it without those people.
No, absolutely not. So, and you're right, Juan Vega's wonderful.
Mhm.
And I didn't know Rick,
Yeah, Rick was for the first, with the initial $2 million grant.
really.
Very, very helpful.
I see Rick all the time. I'll have to make sure I thank him.
Yeah.
And then, you know, and also I would throw Ashley Stolba on the list too, because she's always, you know, really responsive to, you know.
And I had a discussion with the senator, I don't know, a couple weeks ago, and she does want to come out and do an official presentation.
Yes, so I actually have a note to talk to Marlene about that. The senator called me with some ideas, and I'll catch up with you at some point about some of that. We'll hop on a little maybe planning call, because, you know, she had some good ideas about, you know, sort of a little recognition when this was over. And I mentioned including residents, because I think they have been really patient with all of this. So I'd like to see them be part of that. So we'll work on that. She was thinking maybe this fall. So more to come on that. But thank you for, you know, your work around that, and certainly Marlene as well. There's a lot of paperwork, a lot of reporting. Okay, so next, the Franklin Regional Council of Governments, the FY25 collective highway bids.
I don't see that.
I don't have anything in the,
Okay.
I don't
do you have those, Phil?
There
Did you get
should
those?
have, yeah.
I did not see them in here, but I didn't know if maybe, sometimes those are like last minute things.
Okay.
Do you have, can you?
So the board needs to vote to authorize the Franklin Regional Council of Governments to develop the contracts on behalf of Hatfield for FY25, if it is the intent to participate in
Yeah,
DPW 's
so
gonna-
under the Franklin cog, we have a lot of things in there, for road salt, paving.
Right, so this is just so people, sorry, can I just backtrack so people know what we're talking about? This is a cooperative purchasing program through the Franklin Regional Council of Governments. And what it does is it leverages larger buying power from a lot of communities to keep our costs down.
Yeah, it used to be under the HCOG and then
Right.
dissolved,
Mhm.
and they went to the Franklin cog, which, we get very good pricing on things because, as you say, there's many communities involved in it.
So tonight, you're not looking for us to act on specific bids, but just to authorize us to,
They will be bidding the supplies and services, and then typically the chair of the select board authorizes the contract. And it's going to be done electronically.
okay,
So they will be notifying you.
okay, but they haven't even bid yet.
Some bids are out.
Some bids are out. So just for the sake of people watching at home, some of the items that you mentioned salt, but what are some of the other things they might bid for the town?
Fuels under that, all those gravel. There's a lot of things, wine painting, street sweeping, and once they bid all that and the town accepts that they're going to go through their cooperative, and it saves us the time to bid packages out.
So I was just going to mention that in addition to the better pricing because of the large buying power, it also means that, Marlene or Phil is not going through all of that procurement
Procurement, yeah.
because that's a lot.
Yeah,
But they
but
do
the
all the
fuel bids
contracts,
being
they do
separate,
everything?
is separate contract. It's
Correct.
separate from
Yes.
this cooperative.
Yes,
um,
yes. Yeah, so it's basically, anything to do with the highway. It's just, you can, they have all kinds of things, signs, gravel,
It is.
stone dust.
So all street materials, salt, sand.
Right.
Yeah.
But the big one is, the road salt and the paving,
Right. Right. Like the Hampshire cog used to have a huge program that even the schools, and it was paper and it was all
Yeah.
kinds of stuff. I don't know how much the FERCog does with all of that, but
Yeah. So, you look at like the FERCog's group that, Hatfield receives $240,000 in Chapter 90 funding. You figure all the rest of the communities that are involved in there, it's a pretty good amount that they can go out and say, we're putting these projects out to bid and get the best pricing you can.
So we need just a
So
motion
the
to accept it?
the FERCog is asking for an authorization from the town to develop the contracts on behalf of the towns.
and then would we have to, once we see them, then take another vote before I can electronically sign?
I don't believe so.
I don't either. I think.
I think you
this-
can just sign a contract because they bid it and they're gonna give you the lowest bids. Like the salt bid is always the low bid plus an alternate. They always do that, and we accept the two bids because, as you remember, the salt shortage at times, you always want to have a different option to go to in case they run out.
Right, right. Certainly we know we get better pricing and we obviously know that it saves the town an enormous amount of work just from a
And it's
procurement
nothing new.
standpoint. It's nothing new. So, if we can do this without having to call another meeting, if we vote this and then and that authorizes me to electronically sign it when it comes in,
It does.
Now, how do you want to word it?
how do we want to word it?
To authorize the Franklin Regional Council of Governments to develop contracts for FY25 on behalf of the town of Hatfield and designate the chair to sign the contract.
I would add just that it's language, for DPW supplies.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I'll make a motion with what you just said.
Second. Motion made and second.
Okay.
Any further discussion?
No.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. No, we're actually lucky to have them.
Oh, yeah, it's a
Doing
great program.
It's a really great move. Okay, very good. So that's it from you, Phil?
That's it.
Okay, easy enough. Actually, Phil, did you want to maybe talk a little bit about, because you have some new people?
Yes. I mean, we were gonna bring them in at a
At a different meeting?
but,
Okay, we
I
can wait.
just say that, we have hired 3 new individuals within the department, so, and they're working out very well.
Yeah, and they were replacements,
They
right?
were replacements, right?
Right.
You had a retirement, you had a person that left, and then you had another opening where someone left.
Yep.
So there was 3 openings and they're all filled, everything's
That's
filled.
really great.
So.
Yeah.
We did well,
Very
My only
good.
question for you
Do you have a summer
tonight,
crew?
yes.
Excellent.
Summer help is.
my only question is, what do you think the cost would be to do the paint the flagpole outside?
I don't know. Well, I mean, last time it wasn't bad because we had a local contractor donate his lift and just the painting crew used the lift, but I surely can reach out and see. I don't think it'll be that bad.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, Phil. Yeah, it would be great to have introductions,
Yeah,
maybe
we
at
will. We
a
will do
future
that.
meeting. Okay, later in the summer, our next meeting's in June.
Yes, there is a June meeting.
On the summer schedule,
Oh, I know.
1 meeting a month, right?
That's the plan.
The other
Unless-
thing why
unless
I'm-
something
why-
happens.
Why I have your attention, I just want to clear a couple things up. Well, one thing about the brush pile, because there's been some calls about the brush pile and there's been some emails flying around about it. So the brush pile is closed. We have a system where we go from the fence to the first telephone pole, and once that's filled, we shut it off because that's a set amount to grind. And that amount has been reached, so we're just waiting for the contractor to come in and grind that pile. I know people.
And then
are-
it'll reopen.
Then it'll be open as soon as they come in.
Yeah.
I know they were supposed to come in the week of the 7th, but you know how contractors work.
Right.
Okay, there's been another question about recycled oil.
No oil. And the only reason we don't take oil any longer is because we could take the clean oil because we have the waste burner, but people were not abiding by that rule. They were putting antifreeze in there and other products which contaminated the oil. Then we had to pay to get rid of it anyway. So, and when we did take it and we burnt out the waste oil heater in the highway garage, it's not worth it. It's not
Right.
worth it to us.
Right.
There's no way to control what they're dumping in there.
But I mean, legally, if people buy oil from an establishment, they can take it back to that establishment.
Walmart, AutoZone, they all take oil back, yes.
Yeah. So there are other alternatives.
There's all other alternates.
So for the residents about oil, we no longer take the oil because of what you just explained and the reasons
Exactly what
behind it.
happened.
Well, and hopefully the brush pile can open again, because obviously it's a time of year when people are cleaning
Yes.
up and
You know,
generating
I
brush.
I had a phone call into them today to see what their schedule was.
Okay.
Didn't hear back. But, and people have to realize that's a service that is not a chargeable service to the residents.
Right,
I mean, there's not many communities that do that.
right. I think it's in our interest because it stops people from throwing it other places, but it's quite a lot. I mean, I obviously drive by that pile
Yeah,
multiple
it
times a
just
day,
grows. It's
but it is
how much
amazing
stuff-
how big it gets.
Yeah, it is.
Really
It-
amazing how
it
big
really-
it gets.
It is amazing,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah. So, okay, well, hopefully we'll have it up and running again soon. Thank you, Phil.
Yep.
Okay, topic 8 is the town administrator report. Marlene, the first order of business is authorizing the contract with JDR Builders, and this is for the second floor balcony project.
Yes. In the amount of $4,492.
14,000,
$14,492.
which is within our budget.
Mhm.
So,
Make the motion to approve the contract with JDR Builders for Town Hall second floor balcony in the amount of $14,492.
Second,
motion made and second. Any further discussion?
no.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Yeah, this money's coming from the 30,000 that was allocated in ARPA funds.
Okay, great. Well, we're lucky to have JD come and do that, so thank you.
Mhm.
Okay, town administrator search.
So board had indicated starting the search in June. So in anticipation of that, you have in front of you a draft posting and somewhat another document which sort of summarizes the role and responsibilities. However, the job description itself is much more detailed. And then a draft schedule, a chart that just outlines the process, depending on how the select board decides to proceed.
Well, I think that we need to get going on it because I can only imagine that this will take some time, and then depending on who the candidate is, there could be a required notice. They're, you know, if they're already working in this field, which,
Yeah, anybody already working in this field, it should be a smooth transition. They would just need to be brought up to speed on, you know, the status of projects and, yeah, pretty much would be projects that are in the works. Or any pending items at that time.
I mean, we can work on these documents a little bit, right? We can still get the ball rolling because like we're here, I'm really fixated on the grant portion of this because I know that Marlene does a lot of work around grants. It's not easy work. And, you know, so develop and administer grants. I mean, the reporting is really,
Tracking and reporting.
tracking, reporting, you know, you got to make sure
lot
that
of
the
time.
projects are really staying. And then the reporting is just, oh, glory. I've reported on grants and it is not fun. So now, Marlene, do you suggest that the select board serve as a search committee or that there be another search committee?
If there were to be, if there's going to be a screening committee, there's a few people I would recommend, you know, appointing to the screening committee. We could also post a notice that the board is seeking, you know, candidates to sit on a screening
Or the
committee.
select board
Or it could be the
it
select
could be
board.
the
Yeah, I
select
just
board.
wasn't sure how much time you wanted to put in for it.
Yeah. Well, it would be a matter of reviewing and, you know, screening everything. And I guess I'm fine either way. I'm
Yeah, so-
fine if we do it and I'm fine if we
Yeah.
have a search committee.
So reviewing resumes could be done on your own time and then just meeting, I don't know, once a month, twice a month, maybe?
I guess, I don't know, I think we could do it, but I don't know how you feel about
I think
having
we could.
the search committee.
I think we could, but if there's people that would like to get involved, I think that'd be all right too. So I don't know.
Yeah, definitely
I don't know
somebody
that there
from
would
the
be.
finance committee.
I was waiting for your hand
Somebody
to go
from the
up.
finance committee.
Right.
Volunteer.
Yeah.
No, it's not necessarily, I think that, you know, having been through superintendent and principal searches at the school, I would think that you would, if you're the hiring authority, which you guys are, you would probably do a screening committee that would present you with an X number of candidates from those that apply. You know, whether it's 2 or 3 or however many you guys would say to that committee to say, we would like you to present us the top 3. Maybe one of you is on the
Right.
search committee, but not all 3 of you. And then, as Marlene said, other members of important committees, the finance committee, whatever, and possibly a couple of at-large members of the community who would want to be part of this because it's an important position. And I would think that if you leave the residents out of this decision-making, that doesn't look
Right.
Personally, I don't think.
I think the treasurer,
I think my chair just broke.
like I suggested, a member of the finance committee, the treasurer, possibly town moderator, maybe somebody from our community here,
Yeah.
resident.
Gee, trying to think who from the community might be a good candidate for this, Dave.
Why don't we think about it, make a decision next meeting?
I don't know, I'd like to get the ball rolling.
Well, we can post it, but we can still figure out who we want on the screening committee.
It's true.
I mean, we can post and say, hey, we're looking, and
Mhm.
then find out which resident or two.
I mean, I think your suggestion of people to have on the committee is a good one. Like, I would feel comfortable creating that committee tonight. Maybe not with specific people, but with sort of who we're looking for.
Not get it too big.
No, it shouldn't be too
Right,
big.
yeah.
No, it shouldn't
You
be
don't
too
want it
big,
too
maybe
big.
five.
Mm.
Especially because they're going to have to potentially be meeting through the summer, and
That's
it's
right.
so hard with, people being away and quorum problems like that. We don't want that to be a delay. So I guess I would agree with you, Dave. Like I say, I was fine either way. So, so someone from the select board, Marlene, you said?
Yes, somebody from the select board, finance committee, the treasurer collector, town moderator, and somebody from the
At large.
community at large. So that would be 5, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. Yes, that would be 5.
Okay.
Mhm.
You don't think we need the DPW?
I don't know.
No,
It's
I guess not.
good.
Because, no, because we don't have other departments represented on there. Yeah, I think 5. That sounds good. What do you think about that?
5's good.
That's perfect. I like that. I think that sounds great.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a good plan.
Who's really burning to be on for the select board?
Let's think about it.
Yeah, we can make that decision next month, right?
Mhm.
You're just forming the committee tonight, and then
And you'll
Next-
reach out to those folks.
I will.
Yeah,
have to reach out and find out who's interested, so.
Mhm.
yeah. I think putting Bobby on there is a great idea.
Yeah.
Bobby Betzel. I don't like thinking about any of it if you want me to be perfectly honest, but
We got it made.
yeah.
Well, I'm sorry, and thank you.
Dave, I would love you to consider that.
I will. Since comprehensive committee is coming to a close, I'm gonna have some.
Yes.
Well, we can't free up too much of your time, right?
Comprehensive Plan Committee, last meeting tomorrow night.
All right.
2 years of that
Wow.
project. Whew, I can't wait.
But we still have to meet with the select board and present all of our stuff, I'm sure. So.
Yes,
Yeah.
will be at some point, yeah.
Okay, well, I'm glad we're working on getting that search going. Okay, next is the authorization to abate uncollected ambulance revenue.
Mhm.
This is something we do from time to time.
Yes.
Certain ambulance bills are really deemed uncollectible.
Mhm.
Sometimes it's because, Bob's explained this to us a million times. So sometimes, entities like Medicare only pay up to so much
That's correct.
for a bill. So that seems to be the bulk of what we end up abating. Sometimes, they're just uncollectible for various reasons. For instance, okay, so there's reasons here, Medicare.
Mhm.
It's just abating a copay because there's been no response from the
That goes back to
patient.
2021.
And we are patient and diligent, and at some point we have to write them off. Sometimes it's because people are deceased and there's no way to have those bills paid. So it's pretty standard reasons. So I will say that these bills go back to June 1st of 2021. They, no, excuse me.
2018.
I'm sorry, they go back to,
2018.
they go from May
Oh,
of 2018.
2015.
Oh, they're not in order.
No.
Interesting. Okay. So they go from 2015 all the way up to as recently as December 30th of 2023.
Mhm.
And the grand total that we would be abating tonight would be $16,676.73. Again, it's just standard. It's something we do on occasion. And it's really to clean up those outstanding bills that are just uncollectible. I'll take a motion on that.
I'll make a motion that we approve the abatement of uncollected ambulance revenues, total of $16,676.73.
I'll second that. The only question I have, I thought on Medicare, we only can charge like 700 or something.
Yeah, there's
Oh.
a maximum that we can
Right.
charge, so anything billed over and above that.
That's why the first four say Medicare, and that's above that 700.
Right.
I was
Mm.
just a little confused by that, that's all.
I think what it probably means is like the abatement amount is 1,500. I bet that bill was really 2,200.
Right.
Mm.
And so Medicare paid the 700 and we're left with the 1,500 that has to be abated.
Okay. Well, you made a motion, I seconded, and
All those in favor, any
Aye.
further discussion?
no.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And ambulance bills vary greatly. Believe it or not, I used to do the ambulance billing way back in the day for Hatfield. And, you know, it depends on the services received, where they're transported to, you know, various things. So bills can vary quite a bit. In the signature, we have this reclassification of a firefighter paramedic. We don't vote that, right? We just sign that.
Mhm.
Okay. Okay, the next item, topic 9, is the use of our ARPA funds. And Dave, I know you're here to chat about this. Did you want to come up to the microphone? So, you know, the town received over the course of the first maybe year and a half of COVID, some funds from the government that were, initially there were some restrictions and the restrictions changed and there were different things we could do with them. We were able to use them to do really a lot of smaller capital items. We did not build these into the budget because when they're gone, they're gone. But we have used them for quite a bit.
And at the time, we had a lot of free cash that we also used at
Yeah.
the same time.
Exactly.
There
So,
was a lot of really good projects that got done
right.
over the last couple of years.
We were really able to clean up. So we have a capital plan, capital improvement plan. Dave and I both sit on that committee, and it's sort of a big chart, just so people know what we're talking about, a big chart. There it is. Departments give their input on things that they need. And it goes out, 5-7
5
years?
Yeah.
And it's items that have a value of over $10,000 and a lifespan of over 10 years.
Something like that, yeah.
So,
Although police cruisers don't last that long, but you know.
right. So it's not small items we're purchasing, but it's larger things and some very large things on there. I mean, you can have huge sewer projects on there. You can have building projects on there, or you can have Chromebooks or smaller, you know, furniture, things like that. And so the capital planning committee gets together ahead of the budget season to review those and make recommendations. So where we find ourselves now, we did not allocate the remaining ARPA funds. There's about
$241,000.
$241,000 left, but we find ourselves now in the position of needing to expend that money by December 31st.
Right.
So it actually has to be spent.
Right.
So that's not a lot of time to spend money.
Mhm.
So this is why it's great that we have this capital plan to fall back on. So after town meeting, Dave and I had a quick conversation about really the need to get the capital planning committee together again, sort of outside of our normal meeting time in the spring, to really make some recommendations to the select board about spending out those ARPA funds. And my recommendation is that we stick to items on the capital plan. I know when we talked about this at the meeting ahead of town meeting, there was a little flurry of, oh, I want this and I want that. I think we stick to things that have been made part of the capital plan, unless there's some super compelling reason to think of something outside of what's on there, because there's a lot of work goes into that, both on the part of the department heads and the capital planning committee, to sort of keep us in line with you know, planning for, and to the best extent that we can, budgeting for.
And the other thing that we have to do is we have to go through this, and I didn't tear the budget apart for town meeting. I don't know what on here was necessarily part of what we voted in our budget for next year. I knew there's a couple of things. I know that the Day Pond thing went through, but that's CPA money.
Right.
I know that the cable enterprise project upstairs went through, but that's cable enterprise money.
Right.
I don't know what was used, like I said, did we buy the administrative software for the fire department? That would have to come out of free cash.
No.
I don't know. So that's one of the things we'd have to go through this and
Right.
see what has been.
I'm sure Marlene could just mark it up.
I'm sure,
Mhm.
like I said, I didn't tear the budget apart to know what came out of there.
Yeah.
So,
So
but I know there's a couple of big projects that are on there. Certainly the phase 2 of the DPW building, some of the school projects that they want to do. I don't know what the status of the payment from the cannabis company is, as far as whether we're going to fund some of those school project that you were talking about.
right.
That $40,000 to replace tiles, carpet tiles or whatever. So we kind of have to map out a plan and know what the priorities are based on the priorities that we put together for this past year.
Right.
That didn't get funded
Right.
when you guys put the budget
Right.
together. So
Marlene, if you could maybe mark that up with anything that was, I
Yeah,
mean,
so
we pretty much know, but
We used free cash to cover vocational tuition and
that's what I figured.
transportation
There really
deficit.
wasn't much.
Yeah,
I
there
think,
wasn't much available
Right.
because we reserved $100,000.
This plan, other than the ones that didn't, the ones that were already sort of paid for from other things, enterprise funds, et cetera.
Right.
Our CPA, they're all funded, but all the other stuff that would have taken free cash or borrowing are still here.
Correct.
so
Some of you guys can prioritize, that would
Because
be
we didn't do any borrowing either. We didn't do any vehicle. We didn't do.
Well, you
any
can't-
vehicle leases,
You
right?
can't do a vehicle lease with ARPA funds.
No, but.
You cannot use ARPA funds for a vehicle
he's talking
lease.
about what we,
Yeah, but we didn't
No, I
do
just
any-
want to make sure
No.
we were told.
We didn't do
that.
any of that this year.
Right.
Uh,
No, we
There
didn't.
was a couple of requests for vehicles, but those didn't go through. Next year, because we'll have I think one of our leases finishes this year, correct? And then that money will then be available to start a new one next year.
so I guess my suggestion, because time is going to slip by.
It is.
And these are projects, depending on what moves forward, there could be some bidding, some procurement,
Mhm.
the delays and trying to get bids in and everything. So my suggestion would be, Dave, maybe send an email out to get some dates that we could get together so that we can make a recommendation to this board at the next meeting.
Got it.
And our next meeting is June 11th. Oh, that's right.
Yes,
it is
that
June
sounds right.
11th.
I'm
It's
looking
always
at
the night-
May and I'm like.
It's always the night before I have a big event, always. That's all right.
Hmm.
So if we could, if
That's
you think,
Tuesday, right?
yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Do you think we'd have time to convene before
We
then?
will.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
And Dave's real good about keeping us on task.
There'll be an
So-
email tonight.
Okay.
That'll go out.
That'd be excellent. That'd be great.
There's only 4 of us, so it shouldn't be that hard to figure out.
And that's a good time to mention
Yeah.
that it really should be a committee of 5.
Right.
Correct.
We haven't had that 5th sort of
It's community at large.
community at large person. So it's Dave. Dave is an at large.
Yes.
The select board, I'm the rep on that. We have Adam Sullivan from the school and we have John Wilkes Jr. from
Finance.
finance, and it's a great group.
Yep.
It's a really great group, but we would like another person at large. So I don't know that there'd be time to get somebody on and all of that by then, but we actually really start our work after the first of the year and we wrap it up within a couple of
Yeah,
months.
I think we only had 4 meetings this
Yeah.
year, so it's not a ton of time. I've said it before, if you kind of want to dip your toe into, doing some work with the town and getting involved in what goes on and feel like you're part of something,
Yeah.
get involved with in doing some volunteering, then this is a way to do it, because it's not like you guys who are meeting, 20 something times over the course of the year, plus all the other stuff that you guys have to do in between. There's also not a lot of in-between work. It's like basically
Right.
what we talk about at the nights of the meetings, and we don't really have a lot of
Right.
homework and things like that. So
it's also really interesting sort of to learn about, departments' needs and how our departments and our department heads are really good about
Yeah.
planning for the future. So it's interesting. Okay,
Very good.
great. I'll watch for the email. Dave, thanks.
thank you.
Appreciate it. Our last item is topic 10, Mass DOT 2575 design plans for proposed future new crosswalks on Route 5. So I'm really curious about this.
So this is, yeah,
Okay, so I
future
see,
plans.
so this one, okay, but I gotta ask.
Is this all Mass DOT projects
Yes,
It's Mass DOT.
is.
and they're funding everything? Or how's that working? They're funding
It's
everything.
their project. My understanding is
their
their
project.
project.
All right.
Right.
I guess I just,
I was surprised.
you know what surprises me? So they're recommending in various locations along West Street, and some of them, it's a little hard to tell where it is. Here's so in the North Hatfield Road area, that intersection, the Depot Road area.
West Street is
But
almost easy
so
to identify.
crosswalks, great idea. Concrete islands,
Yeah.
Phil, they did this up in Deerfield. They did the work and promptly pulled it back out. I can't
Wow.
even imagine the money that was wasted up there because and what I don't understand is they're proposing this. They're the ones that take care of the roads. This has got to be a nightmare to have these
Yeah,
low islands,
for
right?
maintaining them, yeah. Plowing.
So I do know that, there is local projects that they put them in and then they pulled them back out. I guess I'd be curious to talk to, so there's one in the area of Prospect Meadow.
These crosswalks are gonna go where to where?
Well, that's the other question.
Right, there's just no.
So the one at Depot Road, the one at North Hatfield Road,
Right.
Depot Road, North Hatfield Road, that makes sense, right? It's intersecting roads. There's no sidewalks out there. Where are they right, we don't want crosswalks to nowhere. I guess I might like to talk with somebody.
Well, the purpose of these two are for bus stop locations.
Are there bus stop
That's-
locations there now?
Well, I'm only aware of one out there.
There's two. There was two.
Oh,
I'm aware.
two.
There's two
Franklin
in
Regional
town.
Transit Authority.
One, which is
Yeah.
by RK Miles.
Yep.
FRTA, and the other one was by the motel next, what was?
Oh, I have seen.
Yes,
I have-
yes,
that's
I
right.
am
have
aware
seen
of that
yeah.
one,
See,
yeah.
and I don't know, Greg's been involved.
Yeah,
Greg, you've been involved
That's
with
the only two
FRTA,
stops I
right?
know of.
So,
Oh.
I mean, there's nothing we need to do at this point,
They're
right?
just asking that comments be submitted to them. However, since receiving this, I responded, I had a couple of questions, and I haven't received a response yet.
I have a couple questions too, so I'm going to go ahead and reach out to Mass DOT.
Okay.
Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay. And that looks like it for,
So, yeah, there'll be, I'm sure, further communication
Yeah,
from them, but I just wanted to get it out there to the board that they're in the design plans for putting in sidewalks in those islands.
yeah, I just wonder about the islands. Phil, what's your? Yeah, I mean, because you know where they put them in Deerfield? They put them along where Yankee Candle,
It was
where,
really the fire department that
Right.
dictated those having to come out because there was a lot of places that the fire trucks couldn't turn into the places that they needed to turn into along that stretch once they put those in. So they never consulted with the fire department up there, I don't think, before they did that. And you're right, there was some like $300-something thousand expense to remove all that kind of stuff. I remember reading the paper.
yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And then
And
all that granite that they, I don't know.
I
if
know,
that
all the
got-
great,
If that got reused or if that just became.
maybe it's coming to Hatfield, I don't know.
Yeah. move it
I, you know, at that point, I was driving up to Franklin County all the time and was, you know,
Yeah.
seeing.
There's
all
one
this
on
going-
Route 10 in East
There was as
Hampton.
Treehouse was being developed too. That's when it was all happening sort of at the same time, but.
I think the
So-
design we're looking at is similar to where Sunderland, where you have that mini mart or a gas station and the old racquetball court, which was an
Oh, yeah,
auction place.
yeah.
I think that's what they're referring to, that type of island.
Which is not bad. That island that doesn't seem that bad. I know exactly what you mean.
That's what
Yeah.
I think that's what they're referring to.
Well, I mean, I'll be open-minded about it, but I want more information. That's all.
Mhm.
I mean, they're the ones that take care of that road, so. Okay, anything else?
With that, I make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second that.
Motion made and seconded. Any further discussion?
No.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Marlene. Thank you,
Thank you,
Karen.
John.
Thank you.